Welcome to another edition of Bookie Beatdown. This for the TUF 24 finale. Demetrious Johnson versus question mark?
You might already know, but I'm not at liberty to say because I don't get the money for that liability suit.
The time of this recording right now, the TUF finale between Tim Elliott and Hiromasa Ogakubo has not went down yet. If you want to look for spoilers and stuff, they're out there, guys. But either way, we're not even going to really be able to talk all that much about this. It's like you're talking about Demetrious Johnson. He's the best fighter in the world, arguably the pound for pound, or if you want to get into that debate. But like, he's great. He's great everywhere. He's passed every single test. So what are either one of these guys going to really have for him?
Well, let me
probably
ask you this.
Not a hell of a lot. I think
Right.
Tim Elliott, because of his style, I guess. He's got a funky style, not exactly a power punch or anything. I feel as though that's how you'd have to, capitalize on a mistake or something, which Demetrious Johnson doesn't really make mistakes.
Well, I mean, John Dodson tried that game plan, dropped him twice.
Exactly. And then, Hiromasa, he's a, very, very strong wrestler. I've watched probably half of the episodes of this season, but I've seen a couple.
Great season.
Yeah. It's really good talent. Don't get me wrong, top to bottom. All these guys deserve their shot inside of the UFC at some point or another. And I love watching the flyweight fights. A lot of people don't like watching it. The things that these guys are able to do, it's just you can't see this at any other.
Love it.
It's martial arts personified. These guys are able to do everything. They're super fast, super technical. It's great stuff. But Hiromasa, he's what, good power wrestler, good in the scrambles and stuff. It's just like, well, what are you gonna? It's just like Demetrious Johnson just showed Henry Cejudo exactly what's up when it comes to dealing with a wrestler. He's just like, you're gonna try to grab his body, he's gonna knee you until you can't take it anymore. So it's a tough spot. I know people are gonna go, well, GSP, Matt Serra, that happened. I worry about it less at 125 pounds. This is MMA. There's a reason why they get in there. There's a reason why they get in there and fight, because nothing is guaranteed whatsoever. A big bomb can land, but we've talked about it a lot, whether it's the strawweight division, flyweight division. As you go down in these lower divisions, the power just isn't quite there. So that type of path to victory diminishes. It's still possible. It's just a lot less likely.
Anything's possible. I mean, could one of those guys catch him in a submission? Yes, it's possible.
Sure.
But I look at this as almost like a Rocky story in the sense that look at all the UFC divisions. Let's say Ogakubo or Tim Elliott jump into the UFC right now. They're top 15 guys. I'll give them that. They're not much more than that because they haven't really proven themselves. And actually with Tim Elliott, we've seen what Tim Elliott can do in the UFC, and he was a top 10 guy.
He just lost he had a really tough string of matchups.
Great guys, but he was a top 10 guy, maybe top 5 guy at best. Ogakubo still got some fights to prove to himself, but what he showed off in the TUF House, he's a top 15 guy as well. In what other division could a top 10 or top 15 guy conceivably beat the champion? None.
Heavyweight?
No, because then what you would end up with is Abdurakhimov or something like that against
Francis
Stipe
Ngannou
Miocic.
goes in against Stipe,
I think he's higher than that.
I know,
The only weight
based on
class
what the
I could-
rankings are.
The only weight class I could see it happening in is his middleweight, because I might sound crazy for saying this, but Dan Kelly could beat Michael Bisping. It could happen. Now, when I look at this, as you're saying, the puncher's chance is just not there. To hit this guy and put him down, you would need something miraculous. And as I mentioned with the John Dodson fight, we've seen this guy get hit. We've seen him get put down, and he takes it incredibly well. Over 5 rounds, you just can't beat him. And I know whoever's won this show, they're obviously not getting notified on Wednesday who's fighting. Demetrious Johnson's put a full camp in for one specific guy. They've put in a full camp to fight Demetrious Johnson. But he's just that much better than everybody else. He's a pound-for-pound guy. He needs to be thinking about what's beyond 125 pounds. But as far as this weight class goes, when he fights the number 2 guy in the world, he smokes them. When he fights the number 3 guy in the world, he smokes them. When he fights the number 4 guy in the world, he smokes them. But now he's going to fight the number 15 guy in the world, and let's talk about how that guy's got a shot. He doesn't. The only shot he has is that
miracle.
This is a game of punches and kicks to the head with the odd choke and arms and leg submission mixed in it.
And Demetrious Johnson, he's just a consummate professional. We know he's going to be taking.
But how
whatever
motivated is he for this?
How motivated is he? Well, I guess all these other ones seem like tests, but he just doesn't strike me as the guy who just like would dog a camp because he's like, I'm gonna kill this guy.
Yeah, fair enough. But at the same time, he's got a kid. He might have more than one kid, but he certainly has one child, anyways. And then yes, he's got this video game thing going for him, and he likes to play on Twitch, and he's sponsored by Xbox still, and he's got a life outside of this. So now you throw on some massive run, and he's smoking everybody. So it's easy to get into your own head of like, I just smoked the number 2 and 3 and 4 guy, no problem, right? It's hard to wake up early in the morning and go run 5 miles when you're the champion and you have a mansion and you have money. And I know he's not the highest paid guy, but money's clearly not an issue to him because he's not looking for super fights at 135, which are money fights. He's just content with staying in his division. Now, if you look at his opponent, whoever it may be, but someone coming from that tough house is going to end up fighting him. And this is the Super Bowl to them, Paul. This is the biggest. This is a world title fight, but it's also the biggest opportunity. You're coming out of obscurity. If you're Tim Elliott, you would conceivably need to get back to the UFC, which he fought in Titan, I think 3 times, defended his Titan FC belt. Good performances. Now you get to the UFC. Now you conceivably have to win 3 or 4 or 5 more fights in the UFC level to get a title shot. Nope, you're getting it. Aga Kubo, he comes out of left field, so he's not even someone that most fight fans are even familiar with, and he can get a title shot. This is such a huge opportunity that it's not crazy to think that the guy that's super motivated beats the guy that's not so motivated. But then when you hear that the guy that's not so motivated is Demetrious Johnson, it doesn't matter. He's just that much better, right?
And just on your little video games thing, I would worry more if the thing that he enjoyed was going out and doing copious amounts of cocaine, then
worked for John Jones.
than going online and playing video games with people. That seems like a pretty healthy habit to be having after a long day at the gym. Sit down, play some vids.
I just mean he has career options outside of this.
I
So
know.
when you start making money in other places, then you start thinking, do I really want to get punched in the face? Not so much. I got a wife, I got kids, I got a house, I've paid my mortgage off, I've won a world title. What's beyond this? If you're one of these other challengers, it's like, this is all I've got going for me.
Demetrious Johnson wins, regardless of the opponent.
Does he finish? And we don't even know he's fighting, but does he finish either of the 2 guys?
Very possible. I'm going to be interested to see the lines on the inside the distance.
10-1, 11-1. Oh, sorry, inside the distance. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think the odds are going to be at? 10-1, 11-1?
Depending on the opponent.
Doesn't
I think
really
if
matter.
it's Elliott, if it's going to be around like 10 or 11-1, and if it's Hiromasa, I think it'll be like
15?
We're talking like 15 and up.
Wow.
Honestly.
Can't wait to see it. It'll be released by
It's
the
like
time
it's
the show
it's
comes
not even parlayable. You have to figure out whether he's
Yeah.
going to finish inside the distance.
Fair
but
enough.
hopefully later in the week we'll sit down, we'll actually know the opponent or be able to talk about the opponent and be able to go from there.